Hi everyone, my name is Theresa Palczewski and I'm a student at Cal State Fullerton studying Entertainment and Tourism Communications. I am so excited to share my interview with Vivian Phan with all of you. Vivian is a digital marketing strategist who works primarily with Latin musicians. One of the artists you may know that she works with is Becky G. Vivian shared some amazing insight with me about her journey regarding getting involved in the music industry, and she also shared what she does for her day-to-day work. I'm so glad that I got the chance to talk to Vivian, and I hope that you learned something valuable after listening to her talk. Did you have any social media you wanted to share with us, so that way if people watching want to keep up with you or anything?
Yeah, you can. I can share my Instagram if you want. It's at Viv Phan with 2 N, so VIVPHANN, like Nancy.
Got it. Okay, we'll definitely.
I can send you the link too.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, I'll send you that too.
Okay, thank you.
Cool.
So first question is, can you tell me about your educational background?
Yes. So I went to community college here in Orange County at Santiago Canyon College. And at that time, I was planning to study biochem and pre-med to be a doctor. Yeah. So I was studying to be a pediatrician, which was something that I was passionate about back then because I wanted to help others and help specifically kids. But I think through time studying pre-med for I think about 2.5 years, I realized that wasn't a passion anymore, which is, I tell people, totally okay. And then I switched to sociology, got into Cal State Fullerton. And then from there, I studied communications with a concentration in entertainment and tourism studies. So that's how I got started in entertainment. And
that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you started a completely different path, but then you
did
it up before you got into the field at least.
So it's never too late to change your mind. It's okay to change your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good to know. Were there any particular classes you took that really solidified for you that like this is what you wanted to do and prepared you for what you wanted to do in the job force?
Yeah, I mean, coming to a 4-year university and having a brand new major, I wasn't really sure which direction to go because I was so new and I had already been in college for, 2 years or so, not knowing anyone. So I took as many intro to entertainment or even broadcast journalism, public relations classes, took as many as I could to learn exactly what I liked because communications, there's so many different concentrations you could choose. Yeah. And ultimately, I think after taking, I think it was like an entertainment, like 101 or communications like 101 class, something like that. I think that's when I learned that I really wanted to do entertainment. And I think also taking Professor Rashidi's music class, music industry class, I think definitely that made me want to get into it as well. Dr. Puente. That's whose class I took. He was amazing.
Gotcha. Yeah, I took him for, I think it was 446, just like the
yes,
just entertainment tourism specifically.
Yeah. He taught me a lot. I mean, his class was challenging, but it was always a lot of fun. And I think that class helped you for the industry because he moves so fast.
Yeah, it was a super fast-paced class.
Exactly. So.
Yeah, and same thing with Dr. Rashidi's class. It was nice to learn specifics about the industry because other classes it's more broad.
Yeah.
To learn specifically
and
about
Dr. Rashidi's class is amazing because he worked in music, so it's not like he just learned about it and taught it. He actually, was an active, person in the music industry. So that was really cool. And he knows a lot of people. He's been like ghost musician in some pretty big records out there. So yeah, his class was really awesome. I'd highly recommend it for anyone at Fullerton who is looking to get into music.
Hard class to get into, but definitely worth it.
Yeah.
More specifically about you, can you explain to us what your current job is?
Yes. So I currently work in digital marketing and strategy. I have my own business. I'm an independent contractor, but I have my own business and I contract through companies and work with clients and artists, basically heading all things digital for them, leading, the strategy and the planning when it comes to a release, or if they have a movie or a TV show, any consumer product, brand partnerships, whatever it is, single album, I'll help with the the digital plan for that. And I'll work cohesively with brands and tech partners or labels, publicists, everyone. If they're doing a collaboration, I'll work with the other artist team as well in order to put together that plan to have a successful and creative release.
So it's a lot of working with people in different industries, not just your own.
Yeah, different areas of the music industry, because it really does take a whole team, whether it's our team for, you know, my client or artist, or another artist's team. So yeah, that's just the gist of it. I mean, there's so much more in digital, but that's kind of like a summary of it.
Gotcha. What is it specifically about digital marketing that you really enjoy working in?
That's a great question. Digital marketing and social media is so important. And even with this past year with COVID, every business, no matter who you are, whether you're, you know, an artist, a musician, a famous musician, or a restaurant, or any company, like digital marketing, social media is very necessary. So I like that you can get your message across on social media, right? And I love being part of the artist team to help them communicate, help them get the message, and help them to develop their online presence and voice to be able to reach their audiences, and more specifically, you know, their fans. The fans are the most important. So that's what I really love, to be a part of that. Beyond other things, I mean, everything that an artist does, right? It's going to go up on social media. That's how the word gets across. Wherever it is in here in the US or across the world. If, you know, me specifically working with artists in the Latin industry, they have fans everywhere, Argentina, DR, you know, PR, everywhere. So that's really cool to be a part of.
Yeah, I think for me personally, like just someone who's a big fan of music and has followed music, like various different musicians throughout their careers, that bond that you share, it does come a lot from social media. Like when you first find an artist and you're learning about them, a lot of it is based on their social media presence. I think it's super interesting to be on the other side of it and see how that all works out.
Exactly.
And then what made you decide that music industry was specifically the career path you were going to take?
Yeah, you know, I actually didn't know that music was going to be the career path I was going to take. Originally, when I changed my major and my studies to entertainment and tourism, I always had this dream of working for NBC, you know, wherever it was in TV, probably. I think working for somewhere like a TV show on NBC, right? I loved all of their shows, The Office, like it just really inspired me. So that was my original goal. But I think through time, taking classes at Fullerton, like Rashidi's, Dr. Rashidi's music industry class, and or joining clubs like the Entertainment and Tourism Club, which helped me a lot in my career. You know, through them, I met somebody who was able to help me get an internship at the Clippers. So learning about all these aspects of entertainment helped me learn what I like. And then finally, when I graduated, a classmate reached out to me and said that this digital marketing agency was hiring, and it was for music. And I kind of just fell into music from there, but I definitely learned to love, and I think it made me realize I've always loved music, you know, like throwback to the emo music, you know, all those bands. I think I've always used music as like a tool in life and something to get me through the good times, the bad times, everything in between. So music, I think, has always been a passion. It just took me a while to recognize it, and I'm so glad that I realized it, and I'm still in it today after you know, being in the industry for 6 years.
It's awesome. I resonate with that a lot, because for the longest time I wanted to be a teacher, and like
really,
I was like so set on being a teacher, and then I was like my senior year of high school, I was like, I don't really know if I want to do this. And music was just one of those things, like I've always been a big fan of going to concerts. It's like one of those things I've always been surrounded by. I was like, I wonder what I can do, because I'm not musically gifted. I was like, I love the industry. I love being around it. I wanted to know what I could do in music, which is what led me to studying communications. So I really resonate with the whole like music is a passion thing, wanting to be involved with it.
Yeah, Live, I mean, I miss live music a lot. And that's one
Yeah.
of the amazing perks of working in music is being at the shows with an artist, you know, being backstage with them, helping them prep, prep an Instagram live. You know, we're going to go live during the show, or we're going to, you know, capture this content for the show. Who's the photographer? Who's the videographer on site? And all of that live energy, you can't plan for that, and you can't find it anywhere else except at live events. And that's such an important part of music. That's where the artist gets to directly connect with their fans, and then you feel connected with everyone in the room. So definitely that's one of my favorite parts about working in music as well.
Yeah. So would live shows say it really keeps you on your toes? You're always running around doing different stuff.
Yes, it keeps me on my toes, and things always change, or things could not go wrong, but there could be a little bit of a mishap. Let's say in the middle of a track, the audio goes out, or you could have a blackout, or a fan runs on stage without, you know, not supposed to be there. So there's a lot of things that could happen, or the artist tripped, or the mic went out, or something. And or I mean, I've been in situations where I remember I was with an artist in Spain, and they were, you know, they have wardrobe changes.
Yeah.
And during one of her songs, you know, she took her jacket off because there's like an outfit inside, took a jacket off, and she couldn't get it off. And then I was standing right behind her on stage, and she turned around, and we kind of made a signal, and then I helped her pull the jacket off, and then it was done. But just like little things like that, you don't expect it, but it's all part of it. That's why you have to be quick on your toes in this industry. You figure out a solution right away. There's not much time to think about it. So if you're like a quick thinker and problem solver and solution based mindset, it will be very helpful. And that takes time too.
Yeah.
I didn't have that when I started out. You know, I asked a lot of questions, but as time grows, you learn that skill, which is great for any situation.
So you had said something about like that moment with like the wardrobe change. Do you spend a lot of time directly with the artist, or is it more working with the other people in their team?
Both. I do spend a lot of time working directly with the artists and, you know, my clients. Over time, when I started at the marketing agency, sometimes because the marketing agency, you're kind of a third party, so you would work mostly with management and their team, maybe the artist assistant, the publicist, the record label especially. So it depends, but I think as time grew, you do hop on a text thread with the artist, and you pitch them ideas, or you show them the marketing plan that you've drafted, and you tell them the ideas and initiatives that we're going to be doing for the release. So as time went on, I definitely worked even closer with the artist, and that's what I do today. I work very closely with management most of the time, and I think at this point in, you know, my job, I am directly on the team, the artist team, like the internal team. So usually when we send ideas, it's all directly with the artist. I'll text the artist and I'll let them know.
Gotcha. So would you say that's one of the main differences between working for a company versus being an independent contractor, like the direct communication with the artist?
Oh, not necessarily. When I was working at the company, I was directly in contact with the artist as well. I think certain projects, certain clients, it depends on who is funding the project. It depends on who the artist is, the preference of management and artists on who they would like to be connected to the artist. Let's say maybe the artist is of this, you know, caliber, way more high profile. We might not be in direct contact with the artist, and that's just how the project is. Or they could be very high profile and we are in direct contact with the artist. So it all depends. Every project is different, and you just have to adapt and do the best work that you can still to keep that project going and to keep releases and things successful.
So what were some of the main differences between working for the company and being an independent contractor?
When Theresa and Vivian return, Theresa asks Vivian, what are some of the differences between working for a company and being an independent contractor?
Whether you're deciding on a major, wondering how to network effectively, or planning your career, College Web Mentor offers a range of tools and services to help you succeed.
Great question. I think a big difference is, when you're working at a company, you don't necessarily get to pick the clients you work with, and that's all a part of it. That's for any company, right? That was a big difference. Now that I have my own, client roster for my business, I do pick and choose who I work with, and that is a huge difference because I've always, liked and enjoyed the clients I've worked with at a company because there's so many different genres of music. So that was really great. I think now that I'm been independent for about 3 years, I've leaned towards the Latin industry, and the artists that I work with are typically in that side of music. And I've gotten to choose who I work with, done my own negotiations, my own terms and contracts, and that's very different. And I like to work with artists that I align with in terms of ethic values and views and what they stand for. And I do my research on my artists before I make a decision. So that's a pretty big difference. And I think another big one, which I love, is the freedom of time. And you have to be good at time management because you hold yourself accountable. I don't have a boss. I mean, I do follow up with management teams with, this and this, but, I run my own business. So I need to be responsible for my time and the freedom of time. I can, go grab lunch whenever I need to, or I have to go to a meeting or whatever it is. The flexibility on time is great. And then I think the last thing is you are able to build a closer connection with the artist, I feel, because I am able to spend more time with them. I have more time again to travel with the artist, whether it's on tour, to fan events, on set, music videos, for shows, anything like that, red carpets, award shows. So I am able to travel more with the artist, which is really great. It's important for digital to have that content. Yeah, it's absolutely important. I mean, if it was a perfect situation in a perfect world, like a digital marketing person should be with an artist at almost all times possible.
Really?
Because not only do I draft up, digital marketing plans, where I come up with campaigns and ideas and in collaboration with our team, I'm on set, I'm on site capturing content, through whether it's my phone. I love film photography, so I've brought that extra skill into my work. So I love taking film photos, which have been used on my clients' social media as posts, and they like it. So that's cool because it gives that little vintage vibe. If anyone's into film photography. I have my DSLR camera. I used to do more of that for one of my clients, Becky. And so capturing content is very important. Or even if I am not there to capture the content, I'm still communicating with the artist directly or the team saying, hey, we should capture this sort of content and plan ahead of time. What do we need for release? When release date comes, what do I need? What kind of content do I need? If I can't be there to capture it myself or help the artist capture it, like, who do I talk to make sure that it's getting done? So digital marketing is so important, and content is important because you need that later on to release whatever it is, to promote, right, the product or the song or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it's very important. Yeah, people forget that. I think people might mistaken or are unaware that us as digital people, we're everywhere. We're behind the computer, we're on our phones, but we're on site a lot too. And then at the same time being on site, like working and posting, whatever it is. Yeah. So a lot goes into it, but I mean, it's great.
I feel like it's definitely one of those things where you just assume, marketing, it's all just the post, but you don't think about how does that post get there?
Absolutely. How does that post? Is it the correct hashtag? Is it the correct, are we tagging the correct artists, other collaborative artists, or are we tagging the brand properly so that the client can get paid if they're doing a brand partnership? I mean, or are we hashtagging ad? Are we hashtagging sponsored? Are we putting the correct links? I mean, I've seen people definitely post incorrect links or whatever it is. Getting all that information, gathering it, and then organizing it to execute it. It's very important. It's very, you have to be very detail oriented to understand how to do this job. You can't leave anything, you got to dot your I's and cross your T's.
Yeah, I never even
So
thought of something like making sure it's like ad or sponsorship, but something like
absolutely.
that actually does matter.
Yeah, you see when artists or any influencer has a brand partnership deal or they're promoting a certain company, either they're tagging the brand in the necessarily correct Instagram or Facebook tag, or they have to hashtag ad or hashtag sponsor. And that is very important so that people know that the talent is being sponsored and being paid for that. Yeah, very important. And it's a rule, I believe, also on Instagram and
Oh,
Facebook.
really?
Yeah, there's like rules that go into it.
Yeah.
So,
I know you'd mentioned that a big part of it was traveling. I know things are different now because of the pandemic. So how, besides the traveling, have you seen the industry changed in the midst of the pandemic?
Absolutely, yeah, especially for digital marketing. I mean, music. The traveling has gone down. I did travel once to Miami for shooting of some videos for an album. So that was the one time that I traveled, which was amazing. And they were very safe. Every precaution was taken. So that was really, and it made us feel good to be there. Something that's changed is shows, live events, and touring. And that's why you see a lot of online concerts and online shows. And some of them will be free, some of them are charging for tickets. I mean, touring and merch is a huge part of revenue for an artist, right? So we had to, or teams all over the world had to adjust and find a way to make that revenue during the pandemic. So that was a huge difference. And then, you know, just being on set or on site once production, people were able to start filming music videos again or filming whatever it was. There were very limited amount of people that could be on set. And someone like me who I need to be there to grab content, or I need to be there to make sure that I know how to promote this single or album later, sometimes there wouldn't be a spot for me. And I totally understood that, because who needs to be there, right? All the production people, the management, then you have glam, you have hair and makeup and wardrobe. Like sometimes being a digital person, you're not always the priority, and you figure it out. But in this situation where you're in a pandemic, it was hard. Because sometimes people overlook digital people, and digital people are very important. Artists need us to help them promote their single and album or product later on. Yeah.
It's interesting. You'd think that because of like the presence of social media, digital would be up there, but I mean, you never know with different sets and everything how many people can be there and whatnot.
And it also, I mean, on a side note, it really means a lot, and it's great when a team, specifically management, and an artist, right, knows how important and valuable and priority a digital person is. And I think with Becky's team that I'm with now, she understands very well, and her management and her entire team, they understand so much how important social media is and digital marketing. So that's what I appreciate about our team so much, that they value what I suggest and my opinion and my strategy, which means a lot to me. But that's how we make it work, right? And I work very collaboratively with management and Becky herself. So it's a great team.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Precisely, it's an actual team. It's not just like random people working, but you guys actually work collaboratively to get things done.
Yeah, I've worked with her for about 4 years now, so we know each other well, and we trust each other too. That's very important in a relationship, right? Even it's professional, but we trust, and she trusts that I will bring, you know, the best opportunity or whatever the best thing for her socials is, to her, ideas, concepts, whatever it is. And she's so creative too. She'll bring ideas to us to be like, hey, we should do this. What do you guys think about this? And that's like the dream artist client friend to have, you know?
Yeah.
So it's amazing. Yeah.
That's nice that it's collaborative on her part too. It's not just all on you to come up with everything.
Absolutely. She's awesome. Yeah.
It's awesome. And then you had mentioned that you do mostly the Latin stuff. Did you get involved with that with your company and then just kind of continued in Latin music when you were separate, or how did you get involved in the Latin music?
Yeah, I think working at the social digital marketing agency, Becky was my first Latin client when I was there. And I had just been promoted to a manager, and then I received Becky as a client, and I was a little nervous because I knew that she was starting, actually, she had a couple songs out, but she was singing in Spanish. That's when she recently had started her Spanish music, because she had amazing songs before that in English and pop, but then she was starting Spanish. So I was nervous because I could understand Spanish partly, but I wasn't fluent, so I was nervous. But working with her team and working with my team at the time, everyone made me feel comfortable, and it was a challenge at times, I will say, but you have to just make it work. You figure it out. You use your resources. You have your teams help you. My assistant at that time was fluent in Spanish, Karina. She was so helpful. So we just found a way. And then I had left the company, and then I actually didn't know that I was going to be an independent contractor. I thought I was going to, I wanted to seek other opportunities and grow in other ways. So I thought I was going to go to a company, but I think it just kind of happened. And Becky's team said, hey, like, we should still work together. And then I contract through my old company, and they were awesome enough to, work that out. We worked that out together. So I actually contract through them and work with Becky. So that's how we worked. And then after, when I had my own business, I started receiving referrals and recommendations from people to work with other Latin artists. And I worked with this Latin boy band called CNCO for a while, for about 2 years, and they're amazing. And I had other offers as well, but mainly because I work on my own, so mainly I stuck with Becky and CNCO. So those are the main. And I was at the award shows where they would both be at, so it was a lot of running around, but it's a thrill, and it's very rewarding to work with these types of artists.
Was it hard to balance that when they were both at the same show, making sure you got enough for both clients?
Great question. It was a challenge, but and both teams knew that I was there for the other as well. So both teams were very accommodating. They were very understanding, and also they were, I had been with Becky first, but their team is amazing. Our team, but on the Becky side, they're very understanding, and they're happy for me that I'm finding clients on my own, and same thing on the other side. They're awesome as well. So yeah, it was great. And it's great to know that two teams have your back, Yeah. It's awesome. So, and I feel really appreciated and valued and part of the family in both. So
it's awesome. It's nice that they acknowledge that you're part of two different things, but they don't have any bad blood between the two. Like, everyone's just get what they need to do done.
Yeah, there's a lot of other people, like publicists and other digital marketing people like me, strategists like me, who they have multiple clients. Some publicists have like up to 10. They have a team and a company, but they have many clients. So could you imagine, being on the red carpet and walking each client? A publicist is running from one end to the other end, and they're done. They're running back for the next artist who's arriving in the car to the red carpet, and they're just going around. So they're super busy as well. So they have, teams are understanding, because we can't just live off, work with one client unless you're doing something else or the situation's different. But as someone who has their own company or business, you need to make sure you're consistently gaining new business, and teams usually understand that, which is great.
No, I didn't know there was so much overlap between, people would have to work with so many different people at the same time. Absolutely.
Yeah, especially award show day. That's because if it's like a show, usually like shows and tour, they typically won't overlap, but when you're on an award show like the Latin AMAs or the Latin Billboards or whatever it is, most likely your artist, it fits in the same genre. They'll all be at the same place at the same time.
Yeah, I can't even imagine how hectic award shows are, just because it's so much happening all at once.
Yeah, it's all great though. It's nice when everyone's at the same place though. Yeah, because sometimes the artists won't know each other, and it's cool. How are you? Yeah, it's great. Everyone's super awesome. See
everybody and interact with people you might not otherwise get to see.
Yeah.
Let me see, what did I have next? Oh, kind of more of your personal work. How have you adjusted your work style, and what have you done to stay on top of things during the midst of everything kind of changing?
Yeah, I stay organized in my own ways. I mean, first of all, I love Google Cal because Google Cal is awesome. I know you sent me a Google Cal invite for this. It just helps me because I have it on my computer. I have the app on my phone. So every day I check what I have going on the next day. So it's very helpful. Google Cal for sure. I still use, like, I have it right here, a regular old written agenda. I just love it. I mean, I've used it since forever. So I use that. I use notepads, which are really helpful. You know, I use my notepad, and I also use Dropbox for files. Like, Dropbox is a lifesaver. It's so easy. I have the app on my phone, I have it on my computer, and I have a special tab for it. I keep my folders organized, and it has everything from images to video clips to decks to PDFs to audio files to music videos. So it's all in my Dropbox. I mean, there's definitely other ways, but yeah, it's very important to be organized. Because as a digital marketing person, you are sent a lot of assets and marketing plans and ad plans to approve, and you have to keep everything super, super organized. And I use my, believe it or not, Amy, it's so simple. On my phone, I use my camera roll. I use all the folders. So I have so many albums. Like, I have albums for each event, for each single. Like, I organize everything in albums. So yeah, super helpful.
Probably wrap it up.
Yeah.
So what would you tell college students that are interested in getting in the music industry?
What would I tell college students? I think, first of all, I mean, don't give up, because it may seem like it's really hard and you can't push through that next door, but you can. It just takes time. I mean, I was looking for a job for a while after college, and I was applying to Fox and NBC, and then lo and behold, this digital marketing company for music came up, and look where, you know, I've gone now. So don't give up. But also, specifically in school, I would say be super involved. I mean, you doing this interview is already amazing. I mean, I hope you and I keep in contact after this, right? You and I met through a class, or a class in which I spoke at for Dr. Rashidi. So I mean, even see, you're just going to class, you're taking a music industry class. Yeah. You keep in contact. You reached out on LinkedIn. Like, that's the best that someone could have done in that situation. You know, being involved in organizations in school, like I was at Cal State Fullerton, the Entertainment and Tourism Club. I cannot speak enough greatness about that club. Recently, I spoke for the PRSSA, Public Relations Organization. Joining organizations like that is amazing because they have speaker events, and that's how you network. You and don't be afraid to network. I mean, I know it can be intimidating. I definitely was intimidated, but we're just all people. You know, have a conversation. So important. Just have a conversation. You know, ask for an informational interview. Ask to get some coffee or virtual coffee. You know, whatever it is. So I would say those two things, and stay driven, because it's difficult. It's a challenge, but you just got to keep going until you get to where you want to get, and then you just set goals for yourself. But I didn't have any connections to the industry when I first started out in school. I had to push myself. I had no family connections, no friend connections. I made those myself in school, in organizations, through networking, events and workshops, through internships. That's how I got through. So anyone can do it as well.
That's awesome. Say. Very encouraging.
I hope so.
Yeah, it was. Well, thank you so much. I feel like I definitely learned a lot more than there was so much that I didn't even know I didn't know.
Really?
Yeah, but I definitely learned a lot.
Yeah. I'm so glad, because I didn't know this stuff either. I wish someone told me.
Yeah, it was definitely very helpful. I feel like I've definitely learned something new.
That makes me really happy, and I'm glad because, you know, digital marketing in general, or people call it digital, or sometimes other companies call it new media or community management. You'll hear those terms. Yeah, it used to be, I feel like, a up and coming like industry or department, right, in labels or music. Yeah. It is huge. I mean, a lot of people still don't even know that being in digital marketing, it could be a career option. Yeah. I think people might overlook it because I've been mistaken. Oh, you just tweet all day? No, right? Yeah, there's so much more than that. And it's so fun, and you could get very involved. So I think something that I'd love for students to know is digital marketing field it's vast, and there's a lot of opportunity there in labels, in management companies, at other companies outside of music. So I love to see as many students as possible getting into those industries. Really cool. Besides A&R and promo, radio, and PR and marketing, digital marketing is a huge space in music as well, and I love it. So I highly recommend it if that's something that you think you're passionate about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I really appreciate you taking the time to teach me, and whoever's going to be watching all this.